Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. Yesterday we talked about the Black Super Saiyan God Trunks archetype in set 16, and today we'll be talking about the other Black archetype for the set. We'll be talking about Dabura Swap, which is really interesting in theory, but I think kind of falls flat, but we'll talk about that in the video. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video, and let's get started. Alright, so with the unawakened side of the leader, we have when this card attacks, look at top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 Black Evil Wizard, Black Demon Realm Race, or Black Demon God card among into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So that gives you a lot of search options, and I do think that's kind of cool because if you look back at the Makikabura archetype, a lot of those cards, mostly the main deck cards, not so much the leader, but a lot of those main deck cards revolve around these types of cards and being able to search them or even pitching them to draw cards. So it is kind of neat that there's now a leader that can house that archetype pretty well and search them off the top 5. It does lead to some consistency, which is cool, but it's kind of the rest of the leader in the deck that kind of falls flat in my opinion. But awaken, release 4 or less, or your opponent's leader card's back is facing up. You may draw 2 cards, add cards from life to hand until you have 4 life left, and flip this card over. So we do have an alternate awakening condition, but we don't have the option to really stay at high life, because even if we use our alternate awakening condition, we still have to go down to 4, which is a good and a bad thing. It's kind of bad if you wanted to play like an elongated mid-range game, but it is kind of good on the other hand because it means your super combos are gonna always be live as soon as your opponent awakens. So that's pretty good. Obviously you'd probably play the Vegeta super combo, tuck 1, draw 2 with this leader just being able to go to 4 just about every single game, which is nice. So we have the awakened side of the leader. We have when this card attacks, draw 1, activate main once per turn, pay a black, play up to 1 black unison with no specified cost and 20k power from your drop with a marker on it in rest mode. Then at the end of the turn, send that card to its owner's warp and activate battle once per turn, spirit boost 1. This card gets plus 6,000 power for the battle. So just noting that you won't really be able to make use of that ability, the activate battle, during your opponent's turn. If you're leaning heavily into this ability to temporarily revive a unison, you have to like basically establish a unison that's going to stick around to make best use of the activate battle on your opponent's turn. But otherwise you can like revive the unison and then activate battle, use that spirit boost during your own turn and use it offensively before the unison goes away. But we're gonna have to see obviously what the unison that's coming out with this deck does, but the one unison that comes to mind with this is the Toa 20k unison, but I don't really think you can do too much with it with only 1 marker via this ability. I think the -4 lets you steal a battle card, so that's not going to be super feasible in the temporary time that you're able to bring that thing back from the drop area. So yeah, we'll have to see if the unison that comes with the deck can actually make use of that well enough. We have Dark King Makikabura, Might Inconceivable. Here's our no specified cost 20k unison. It does have Empower, so what you could do is like use your leader ability to bring this unison back or a different 20k unison back, and then you could actually play another copy of Dark King Makikabura, and then Empower should carry the 1 marker from your leader ability over to the new unison. So that's kind of a neat trick you can do there, I guess, although it does seem a little bit energy expensive. Then we have Permanent. This card has 3 or fewer markers. It can't attack. Auto once per turn. When you play a Black Demon Realm Race card using Swap, choose one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost of 3 or less and send it to the owner's warp. So you get rewarded for swapping with some spot removal. And activate main +1. Choose 1 card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck, and then draw 1. I guess so. That's the better. I guess it's a better way to get the Empower off, right? So you bring it back with the leader. That's gonna give it 1 marker. You can +1 to cycle a card, and then you can pay 1 to play a new copy for technically 1 marker. But then Empower would bring it to 3 markers, and then you can use the +1 again. And then if you're able to swap multiple times in that turn, I guess you could use the auto multiple times as well on different copies of the card. So that's kind of an interesting combo, I guess, but it seems very, very specific. You gotta have the swap set up and ready to go, and you have to have multiple copies of this unison, I guess 1 in hand and 1 in the drop area, but it still seems like a pretty convoluted, tough combo to pull off. But anyways, a couple extra cards for the deck. So we have Support the Dark Empire, counter attack. If your leader's mono black, negate the attack, then play 1 Demon Realm Soldier token and it gains blocker for the turn. So basically this is Black's equivalent of testing the opposition or homicidal clones. It also can be used at free if you're 5 or less life by taking a life. This is awesome. I don't know why Black didn't get one of these the first time around, so it's nice that they have it now because it's just a really good generic type of card to have. Then we have Attack of the Dark Empire, 1 drop, activate main. If your leader card's a Black Demon Realm Race card, look at top 7 cards of your deck, then choose 1. Add up to 1 Black Evil Wizard, Black Demon Realm Race, or Black Demon God card among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. If you have no unison card in play, play up to 1 Black unison card with no specified cost and 20k power from among them with a marker on it. then shuffle your deck. So not bad. I like how this allows you to start with a Unison in the top 7 if you have it. And again, you do have more than just one target. You don't have to play just Makikabura. You could play probably like 2 copies of the Toa Unison, and it could probably do pretty well, because I believe it also gains markers when you remove your opponent's battle cards, and it seems like this deck has a fair amount of removal already, and it just serves as, you know, copies maybe 5 through 6 of your 20k no specified cost Unison, so that seems kind of decent. All right, so now here comes the swap thing with this deck, and it's really weird. But anyways, let's just read it. So we have Toa Annihilation at hand. We have a 2-drop 15k battle card. It swaps into a 3, and it costs Spirit Boost 1 if your leader card is a black Dabura Xeno card, and you choose one card in your hand and place it at the bottom of your deck. Play a black Toa with energy cost of 3, which we'll see in just a second. Auto when this card's played, look at top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 black evil wizard, black demon on race, or black demon god card, or 1 black unison with no specified cost among them to your hand, then place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. So a couple big problems here, and this is going to be a common theme with the rest of the swap stuff we read. You have to basically drop a card from hand to swap. We've never seen a swap mechanic that completely relies on you discarding additional cards in order to swap. That's just crazy overcosted when you compare to all the other swap mechanics in the game. So that's a big problem right there. The other thing is, this thing is a 2-drop, so you got to cast this for 2 and then swap up, which I guess granted the swap is free, but you also have to have Spirit Boost 1, so you also have to have a Unison in play, which you know, might not always happen. So we had this big problem when Spirit Boost first came out, where these archetypes were way too reliant on Spirit Boost, and it made them just, you know, a lot worse than the non-Spirit Boost reliant stuff, and this seems like it's going to suffer from a very similar problem. So I really don't want to cast this card for 2, and on top of that problem, if my opponent's interacting with my Unison, or I just can't find a Unison, this card is basically dead in hand. So let's see what the Toa has to do though. It's an SR for the deck. We have a dual attack 15k EX evolve over a Toa with a cost of 2 or less for 2 energy. Already I'd rather just evolve this thing than ever swap it, because it doesn't actually cost a card out of my hand. So when this card's played from your hand, draw 1 card, then your opponent may choose up to 2 of their battle cards and or cards in their hand and send them to their owner's warps. If your opponent sent 1 or fewer cards to their warp using the skill, choose up to 1 of their Unison cards with 4 more markers on it and gain control of it. So this card is kind of neat, but also poses big problems. If your opponent doesn't have a Unison with 4 or more markers, they can just choose to not do anything for this effect, and they shouldn't reap any negative benefits from it. So that's also pretty bad. Granted, a lot of decks do rely on Unisons and want to just stockpile markers as much as they can, and this card can punish that, but I just don't think this can be the main engine of any deck, because it relies on your opponent to have a very specific board state. Maybe it's a side deck engine, maybe it's a 2 to 3 of engine, just because of again, how specific it is in usage. But it's pretty weird. I don't like either of these cards all that much. Obviously the Toa SR I think is a lot better than the regular Toa, but yeah, pretty tough to use these, I gotta say. Then we have Poutine Annihilation at hand, so we have another swap package here. Swap 3 Spirit Boost 1, bottom deck a card in hand, and then go into a 3-drop Poutine. Auto when this card's played, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add up to 1 black evil wizard, demon arm race, or demon god card, or 1 black unison with no specified cost. So basically a searcher just like the Toa, although this costs 1 instead of 2. And then you can swap into demon god Poutine Umbral Might. We have a 3-drop 15k blocker, Dark Overwhelm 3 for 1. I really like the fact that it has Dark Overwhelm, because you have another way to get it out there. When this card's played from your hand, play 1 Demon Realm Soldier token. They have 5k power, 0 combo cost, and 5k combo power. Activate battle once per turn. Choose one of your Demon Realm Soldier tokens and remove it from the game. Then draw 1 card, switch card to active mode, and it gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. Not bad. So you can basically turn this into a dual attacker or a dual blocker, kind of like Goku Hit in blue-yellow. And I really like how this uses Demon Realm Soldier tokens, because the Testing the Opposition type card we have for this color now spawns a Demon Realm Soldier token. So not only do you get that through Poutine's effect, but you also get that through that new extra card as well. So that's some pretty cool synergy there. This card seems very good, but again, I'd rather just always play it via Dark Overwhelm than swap. Like, the swap thing here is really falling flat. It's way too overcosted again compared to other swap mechanics we've had in the past. Then we have Gravy Annihilation at hand. Same swap thing, except it goes into a Gravy instead of anything else. Then we have add 1 card from light to hand. When this card attacks, gets plus 11,000 power for the battle. So very simple stuff. Awakening doesn't really do all that much. Then we have the 3-drop Gravy, Dark Overwhelm 3 for 2. When this card's played from your hand, it gets plus 5,000 power and double strike for the turn. This engine just doesn't seem very good. You get a simple 25k double striker. Either you swap into it for 1 and additional card in hand, or you dark overwhelm it for 2 and it only gets the +5 and double strike for the turn. So not really something I want to invest too much in, especially when a dark overwhelm like True Demon God Demigod, the 5-drop draft box one exists, right? Like I would always just rather play that instead of this 9 times, or 100% of the time, not even 9 times out of 10, honestly. And then finally, we have a small Dabura swap engine. So we have Dabura Annihilation at hand, 2-drop 15k. This is a super combo with a 0 plus 10k. Swap 4 into a Dabura Xeno with a cost of 4. Although this one doesn't have a discard cost, which is kind of nice. But I don't think I'm casting my super combo to the board for 2. I just don't think that's happening. With counterplays and any type of interruption, I just don't want this card to be, you know, removed. Plus, it's a super combo. It doesn't draw. It doesn't do anything else except for swap, which is really, really rough. Demon God Deborah, Umbral Might. We have 4-drop 20k, Dark Overwhelm 4 for 3. When this card's played, draw 1 card. Then your opponent chooses a card in their hand and sends it to the warp. So, overall, guys, I think this archetype is really, really bad. I don't even think you can call it an archetype. I guess what you really have to do if you want to play Deborah and maybe try to make it work is take a look at all the older Demon Realm race, Demon God stuff, Evil Wizard stuff, and see like the best cards you can search with this stuff. And there are some other swap targets, don't get me wrong, like Poutine 1-drop can swap into the 3-drop Poutine for yellow, and that gives black access to a kind of a cool mechanic where if your opponent plays a card by his skill, it gets tapped. But like the cards that are coming out in set 16 for this, they're just very lackluster. Again, I can't stress it enough. The swap situation is so overcosted. Like getting rid of a card in hand is really rough. You could possibly play the Kid Goku engine where you just add 4-star balls to your hand every single turn, and that could be your main turn 1 play, which can mitigate the fact that you have to bottom deck cards constantly. And that's what Mikigabora does, because for his Awakened Wish side of the leader, you have to bottom deck cards to steal your opponent's battle cards. But you're getting such a more powerful effect. You're stealing a battle card. You're basically making up for that card you're bottom decking by taking a card away from your opponent. This is just letting you cheat energy costs a little bit. And in the grand scheme of things in Dragon Ball Super, everything cheats energy costs. So the fact that this cheats energy costs and costs cards from hand makes it really lackluster. But anyways, just my 2 cents, guys. I want to know what you think in the comments below about this stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.